everybody, and welcome to Third Eye with Lorelei. I am obviously your host, Lorelei, and today I have the exquisite honor of interviewing Mr. Dave Shine today. And we just found out that Dave Shine is in Texas and I am in California, and hence the because Dave is a man of the morning, and now I have him recording this podcast in the afternoon. Dave, how are you today?
I'm super awesome. Like, I'm feeling really good, feeling super blessed, and happy to be on here with you. And it's just so cool because like we just been vibing the whole time, laughing. And so, sometimes you can like, well, I'm not, but sometimes people get nervous. I used to get nervous, but it's like we just out here just having a good time. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I'm having a great day, and I'm just happy to be on here with you. So thank you so much.
Heck yeah, I've been watching all of your content on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I gotta get this. I gotta get him. I gotta get him on my podcast to talk, because oh my goodness, you have such a, what's funny is I feel like when I watch you, it is such a beautiful example of like that young, energetic. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like the shine, even your last name is the shine. You know what I mean? The outward projection of this beautiful doing energy. And so I was just like, oh, I gotta get Shine on here to talk.
Let's go. Thank you. Nah, that really means a lot to me. And yeah, I would love to talk about that, but it's really cool that you wanted me on the podcast. So I have a coach, and he's a life coach, but he likes to talk about life. And so we explore different things. It's really about like the life experience. But so what I'm saying is, like, last week he was like, Dave, I challenge you to get on 5 podcasts this week. And I was like, cool, man, I'll do it. I didn't get on 5 podcasts. And I told him that. He was like, the point wasn't for you to get on 5 podcasts. I wanted you to see what comes up when you go to take, go to do this and things like that. And so I didn't get on 5 podcasts, but it wasn't a big deal because now you like, hey Dave, what's up? You want to get on a podcast? I'm like, yes, let's go. Like, this is what we're trying to do right now. So it just shows, like, when he told me to do it, when he challenged me to do it, I put a lot of thought into it. Sometimes, like, you just obstruct the universe. But when I just let it go, I was like, bro, I didn't even get on the podcast. And then, it just starts to show up in that way. So that was just really cool. And I was like, yeah, that's how it works out most of the time.
Yep. Yes. And I love how the universe does that, right? You have this challenge that you're presented with. And, it really does go up against our like rational perspective of like, okay, I got to do 5 podcasts. And it's like, well, why don't we just get on one and see how it goes, and like, work forward from there. And how funny that this is the time where I was like, now I'm going to ask him to be on my podcast. Cause like I was watching and I would be like, oh, I like what he said there. I love that. Blah, blah, blah. And I'd give it a minute. And then for some reason, this was the time. And how crazy is that? The synchronicities are just amazing, right?
You can't plan it, bro. You can't figure this out. You can't plan this. No. You can't.
It's just wonderful how it is. So Dave, can you tell me where you started and where this journey began with you?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's always a big question for a lot of people. But so in 2017, well, I'm just going to start where I really just started to allow myself to be like this kid, like, just have fun and stuff like that, because I feel like that's really the point to like most people have, is like when you can really just be natural and be you. And that's what I just feel like now. It's like I got this kid energy because I just want to have fun and I don't even care. It's just like, I just got to be me at the end of the day. So, in 2017 and 2016, I was not being me. I was literally depressed because I was on, in 2016, I started I literally just graduated college. I was working at a dealership. I was a mechanic and things like that. That's what I went to school for. And growing up, most people limiting beliefs. I thought that I could only go to school to be a mechanic. I wasn't smart in high school. I had like a 2.7 GPA, just not really a bright kid. And, growing up with a family, no self-love and stuff like that, just the whole traditional program type stuff. So I graduated school. I was the first to go to college in my family, so it was a really cool thing. I got a good job and started working at the dealership for 2 years. And at the dealership, I was like, dude, I don't like this. Like, I don't like this. This is not feeling good for me. Like, and it wasn't like, nothing bad about it, but like I was working and I was hot. working on cars in the summertime, oil in my face and stuff like that.
Oh,
And it was funny to see how it was funny because I was like, I thought this was what I wanted. Like, this is what life about. I got a really good job. I had a freaking cool car. My family's like, dang, Dave, you cool, man. You got a cool car. You making money. I'm 19 years old. I'm like, I'm the man, but it just did not feel right. It does not feel right. So fast forward, I met like people in business and things like that. And that opened my eyes up to like, you can be successful and you can live a better life. You don't have to do all this stuff like that. So I quit the dealership job. I started selling furniture. I started selling insurance. I started selling freaking all types of products and stuff like that. Just selling stuff. I was in the network marketing industry. That's why. So just selling stuff like that. But I still didn't know who I was. I created another image of myself that I needed to be successful now. So I started to chase money and stuff like that and got on that funk. But in 2016, I kind of literally like I was in a depression because I couldn't uphold this image anymore. If I'm trying to be successful, I'm trying to get this money and all that stuff. So literally I would wake up and go sleep in a closet for like 3 hours a day because I couldn't see the sunlight, just super depressed because I had all these expectations of what I should be, what my family wanted me to be, and really just this image of I need to be successful, but I'm not successful. So who am I? Why am I worthy if I'm not successful right now? So
oh.
that type of thing. So I had so in my depression, you get these really good ideas that are not really good ideas. So my idea, this is a funny thing. So I had the idea. I was like, so I was living in my hometown of Bryan, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not successful because I'm still in my small hometown. So if I go somewhere else, I'll be successful. So I was like, I'm going to go to Florida. I want to pack everything in my car, and I want to go for a backpack and a dream. This is how I did.
This sounds all too familiar, Dave Shine. Keep going.
Okay, cool. So I was like, I got a backpack and a dream. I know if I go to Florida, I'll meet new people because I actually did know people down there that were very successful. And I was like, I'm depressed, but if I get around them, I'll do better and I'll be successful.
Yeah.
It didn't work out that way. I got down there. I was still the same depressed person, so much fear, like living in so much, just all this stuff. And the people that I was around, like they were a direct reflection. So the way that I felt about myself, they were treating me that way and just, it didn't work out. I ended up sleeping in my car for like 3 months and all types of crazy stuff. And so eventually that kind of horrible place. Oh, so it was crazy because this was like that God moment where I was in the airport and I had $300. I was like, okay, I can rent a car and continue to try to do this because I was selling life insurance at the time. I can continue to try to do this, or I can get a plane ticket back to Texas with nothing. And God was like, take your ass back to Texas. Like it was really like, it was really that, literally that, I heard it so clear, like, go back to Texas. So literally the car that I was sleeping in got repossessed. So literally I had a backpack and 2 pairs of shoes that I came back to Texas in. And that's when I was sleeping on my grandmother's sofa. And that's when the spiritual awakening started to happen, if you will. So in 2017, I'm sleeping on my grandmother's sofa and I'm like, bro, where is Jesus at? Where is God at? Where is these people at that's supposed to help me out? Like where's where they at? Like, why do I feel like shit? Like, why do I feel like this about myself? Like, why is this not fun? Why do I not like myself? Like, why do I feel like this? And literally I was on YouTube, and have you ever heard of Abraham Hicks?
Oh yeah. I read that book.
Yeah.
That
Fire.
is, it is absolutely incredible. It's like, you want to manifest something, let me show you how you're going to do that. Like, okay,
exactly.
Thank
That's
you.
exactly it.
Oh my God.
So, but I didn't hear the manifestation, but I did hear that you're worthy, and you're trying to figure out that you trying to be all these things to make yourself worthy. So you thought if you become successful, you'll be worthy. You thought if you showed your family that you'll be worthy. So you've been doing all these things to prove your worthiness. And that's what I heard. And I was like, holy shit, I don't have to do this and I can still feel good about myself. Like, I don't have to do all the crazy shit that I thought I had to do. And that was it. That was it right there. So from that point, like, literally life changed because I started to be nice to myself. I started to be kind to myself. I literally saw that I was the one that was beating myself up and making myself feel this way. And as just journaling. So it was cool because during this time, I didn't have any social media. It was literally just me by myself. Like, I didn't have nothing. So I literally just had a freaking journal. I'm gonna show you this journal right here.
Yeah, show me the journal.
I was working at a hotel, overnight hotel, a night audit. I was a night auditor. So I had all this time to myself. And literally I would have this book and I would just write so many affirmations, like I'm worthy, I'm good, like things are working out for me, even though I feel like shit, like I know it's getting better.
Yeah.
And so just really start to build myself up. Like fast forward a month later, I start working at this retail shoe store. I'm the sales manager because I had all these skills. Like I had leadership skills and I knew that I was a person that could help other people out, but I just didn't believe in. But this time around, like I was like, oh, like I'm good. Like I'm a person of love, like I'm worthy. I'm not trying to prove myself. So when I go to work at these places, like people see this light. They like, what's up with you, bro? They like, something up, you got something going on, like your energy is crazy. And it was funny because like I'm the manager of this place, and all these people, like they just walking around in their dream and their program and stuff like that, and they see this dude like freaking happy and joyful. Like I'm at a store where like people come in all the time and they're angry, pissed off, they got problems. Like this is retail. And I remember one day this lady came in the line and she was like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing great. Like I'm doing great. And she's like, what the hell wrong with you? She's like, what's wrong with you? Like people are not happy to work at a retail shoe store. And I'm like, I don't think it's about that. I think it's just about me and the people and my, like how I feel and stuff like that. So I did that in 2020. I got laid off, but that was perfect because that's when I already knew I was already creating videos. I had a podcast and I knew that I had something to share. So it was perfect because that's when I kind of started my coaching business, which is the Line and Shine coaching. And then it's not even what I aspire to do, but what I'm doing right now is public speaking. And I say that, choose to be the light of your own life and choose to shine. And so that's what I love to do is I'm an inspirational speaker and that's what I love to do. And I guess that's how we got here right now. So I just been doing my thing and just really just allowing myself to just really be me. And I see spiritual awakening is an interesting thing. I'm seeing is an interesting thing because, it seems like we're trying to get somewhere, be more spiritual, but I see that to our nature, we already like I have an 8-month-old nephew and I just see the beauty and like how he's himself. And it's like, that's a pure spiritual being right there. And it's like, I'm just seeing that all the shit that I thought I was is falling away. And every day it falls away, I feel better about life and I'm able to be me. So that is how we got here.
That is incredible. What an incredible story. And rightfully so inspiring, because a lot of people, I feel like in some respects are in that kind of modality where, they are doing something just because they feel like this is what they should be doing or what have you. And then they realize this is not the thing. Like what is, especially in 2020, I've touched on this quite a few times in different episodes, is the fact that, you are living in this projection, whether that is placed there by you or by somebody else, and you don't understand how you got there or why you're so unhappy. But then you just realize how much you're just like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this isn't fitting. Like the puzzle pieces aren't fitting together, And it's so great to have another person be like, I figured it out. I had nothing in my pocket. I didn't have a plan, but this is, I just knew that this wasn't the thing, and you followed where your gut and where your spiritual consciousness was telling you to go, which is, I feel like what people need to really start tuning into. And I love that you did that, that quintessential Bob Marley quote. I'm pretty sure it's Bob Marley that said this, that once a man, twice a child. And it's funny because really he's speaking to the progression of age, but it's funny in spiritual awakening, we have to shift our perspective to that of a child, because like your 8-month-old nephew, he is absolutely pure. Like he doesn't have any of those facades, those strict boundaries and ceilings that society and, nurturing and nature creates. He just knows that he's here and he's purely present. And here we are in our, 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus year old bodies. And we're like, okay, well, I can't wear this today because I think I'm fat. And, I can't eat that because it makes me feel like hot garbage. And I should drink 5 cups of coffee and go to my mundane job that's 9 to 5. And my boss is an asshole. And it's like, well, I mean, if you think about a kid, they're like, I want to be a unicorn.
Yeah. You know, I'm really on that. I'll be like, I'm actually an otter. Actually, I'm a wizard otter, man. Like that's what I do. Like I love to swim, and I'm an otter, man. And it's funny because I say it to my girlfriend, and she laughs at me. But I'm like, like, but this is what's about. Like I can have fun, and I don't have to take myself serious anymore. Like there's no need to. I see that's a curse, and it's oftentimes I say like, I am sincere about what I do, but I'm not serious about it because there's no reason to be serious about it. Like I can be sincere and share what I need to share, and that can come from a place of love rather than me being like, I'm gonna be the best goddamn inspirational speaker ever, and nobody's gonna be better than me, and I'm gonna be the best coach ever. It's like, really, dude, that don't even sound fun. That sounds boring.
It sounds like a lot of undue pressure. Like,
Yeah,
why? Who cares?
exactly. Like why? Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And like you said, and like with it's so cool because so my 8-month-old nephew is funny. So like, we live in the same place. He's my roommate. He got his own freaking car and everything. Not really. No, he lives next door. Like he's my sister's baby. But like so I've seen him grow up, and it's so amazing to just be so aware of him, because what you just said about the facades and things like that. And the coolest thing that I noticed is that yet again, like this pure awareness with no concepts. And so I think about it like this hand right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see him, he's looking at this hand. He don't think he don't even like have no concept of it. It's just an object. It's just an
Mm-hmm.
object in front of his face. But as we get older, I mean, and it's necessary that we have labels and things like that. But now it's a hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see it as a hand, but at first it was just an object floating. And I just see that's how my nephew sees everything, is just objects. And so I'm asking myself, it's like, what stories am I making up about these objects around me? Like what labels am I giving these objects? And then once I give them a label or a title, what story goes along with that? And I'm seeing that for everything in my life. And it's funny because I had this experience the other night, one of those funny, blissful moments. I was like, I'm not Dave. And I was like, yeah. I was
Are you
like,
really Dave? I don't think you're really Dave.
I know. It was funny because like when I said that, I was like, I woke up to like, I'm not Dave. And then I like fell on the ground and started laughing for like literally 5 minutes. I was like, think about how much suffering I've dealt with, how much everything I've dealt with, because I think that I'm my name, and I think that I'm all the titles that others have gave me and that I gave myself, and I had to uphold these. And it's like, I'm none of that, because once all the titles fall away and the labels fall away, then what am I really though? Because I am what I am until I'm not. And that's how I see it. You know what I mean?
That is powerful. Absolutely amazing. And it really begs the question, what labels are you allowing to be you? What what ceilings are you allowing to be above you so that you don't know your potential and what you're capable of, and what things you actually could do, and what are you saying, nah, I'm not good enough for that. You know what I mean? And it's really just like, just try, just do and try, and maybe think past those boundaries that either you have placed there, or that you have allowed I can't talk. You've allowed society and family and friends to place in front of you, because this is their trauma or their own upbringing, where they're speaking from a wound place, and you're like, this has never been me. Just like when you woke up and said, I'm not Dave, you may be like so many things. Maybe you were Jesus.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Like maybe I'm goddamn Bigfoot. Like, bro, I don't know. Like I don't know. It's a mysterious thing that we are actually experiencing right now. And every time that we know exactly what's going on, like, bro, shut up. No, you don't. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Just when we think we have it figured out, the rug is pulled out from underneath us. I'm like, oh, okay, back to square one, I guess, and to allow your imagination, allow your higher mind to keep you from being so anchored in a sense where you can't get yourself off the ground. Like when you were talking about when you're in your depression, you were carrying the weight of all of the things that people have placed upon you, and you didn't really know how to offload any of that, because you're like, well, this is the life that I have to live. This is the thing that I have to do. But it was only in hearing this higher mind, this voice of God, this higher consciousness say to you, go back to Texas,
Mhm.
that's when it's just kind of like, and we're awake.
Yeah.
And we realize all the stuff that you have on your back, you don't have to carry it with you if you don't want to. You can let some of
So
that shit go if you want.
like, God dang it, man, we're so free. I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's like we're so free that we can put ourselves in bondage, and that's the craziest
Oh,
thing right there. We're
oh
so
my.
free that we can choose bondage, and and I mean, I know so many people have kids, but God dang, man, just like that is one of the most beautifulest gifts that I've ever had. Is just seeing my nephew grow up and just seeing him navigate and experience the world. Because I'm like, you are giving me ways that I've never seen before. Um, but yeah, and it's crazy because like you said, like that voice of God and that consciousness is like do we realize like that's who we really are and that that's always available to us, but the only time we don't hear it is because we're so caught up in here, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because that voice is always talking to us, it's always nudging us, and it's cool because once you start to kind of be more in tune with that voice and practice listening to that voice more, you'll see how you can navigate through life in a much more seamless and a much more joyful way. That's what I'm saying. And guess the cool thing is like it don't even have to be joyful. You can even just enjoy it. It don't gotta be joyful. It can be sad. You can be mad, but you can still just experience life without judging yourself. So I just really took a segue because I've been talking about like self-judgment and things like that a lot recently, and about like just like I saw that, man, the like it's a Maya Angelou quote, I believe, that it's like if there's
Mm.
no enemy within, there's no enemy without. And it's like we just have to start noticing that like we are the ones, it's the mind, it's not we, because we're kind of these beautiful, pure beings, but it's like all the conditioning, all the thoughts, and all the beliefs that we have. That's the thing that makes us so evil. But it's like we really are good people and we can be better if we just, just look in that direction, really.
Yes, absolutely. And really a lot of the bad or the evil is
Mhm,
all just, it's stuff that we have, really learned over the years that we're projecting from that space where we were harmed or maybe we were wronged, and we don't know how to move out of that, operating out of that space, like,
mhm.
I mean, and you're seeing a lot of that today in like the polarity of
Yeah,
just the United States and around the world. I mean, people are just pitted against one another, and it is all just people that are operating from places of harm. And it's a lot of times, you have like one perspective where you're like, oh yeah, I see that, and then the other perspective and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, why, like what is happening there, you know what I mean? And it I don't feel like people are born evil or born bad. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are listening to this and going, oh no, there are people, you know what I mean? And it's like, I work a lot in past life stuff. So,
yeah,
I hold very firmly onto this view or this lens that our souls, this isn't the only lifetime that this soul, your soul, my soul has lived. There have been many containers and many experiences on this earth, and we carry those experiences with us as like sort of imprints. It's just like you remember what it was like to only have a pair of shoes and $300 in your pocket. Well, you probably also remember being in Europe during the mid-century and having an authoritarian monarchy or whatever, you know what I mean, and having servants and not having servants and having nothing. And it's like you carry this wisdom and these experiences with you throughout this non-linear perspective of time.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going all the woo here, bud.
Let's go. I love it because it's funny because I did a podcast with my girlfriend yesterday. That was a pretty cool experience. But I
Ooh.
said esoteric, and she was like, if that's a label you want to give it. And I was like, that's good. I was like, thank you for that. Because it's like it's funny because like this is a spiritual experience. So why would I
Mhm.
label it as something that is like it's esoteric, such as like I'm talking about something that's not really here, but it's like I'm seeing that it really is a spiritual experience. And what you just said about like, we have these imprints upon ourselves. What I've been noticing and what I see about that is like, we're the experiencer. And like, it just makes sense that like, if I've experienced being a baby before, and I've experienced being a child before, now I'm experiencing being Dave before, like I would not put that out of my mind that I have not experienced something else before, because I know that I am not these things, but I'm experiencing these things. So hell yeah, I experienced being a deer before, maybe. Like,
Right.
like it just makes sense, because I see that we're moving through this experience every now. Like, and it's so interesting to kind of see it like that. And it's and what I just said is probably the most profound thing, is like, it's interesting to see it like that, because the only reason why a lot of people are the way they are is because how they see stuff. And if you see
Mhm.
things differently, guess what happens?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
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 know,
start to see things differently. Yeah.
yes. And it's hard to operate from a lens of unconditionally loving,
Yeah.
because we are so used to putting conditions on everything, right?
Mhm.
You know, if you do A, B, and C, then we can be friends, or, I can accept you more. And really it is the work of the empath to look at every person, regardless of how you feel personally about what they're doing, and say, I know that what's going on with you is something that I may not understand. I still love you. I'm still going to give you what I feel you deserve, which is unconditionally loving, energy, right? And that is really hard,
That's really
because
hard.
a lot of times we don't feel like people deserve that, and it's like, but really, in the grand scheme of things, we don't understand the story. We don't understand what's happening with this other person. And so to operate from a place that is a much higher vibration, that is like Christ consciousness,
Mhm.
where it's like that whole perspective of like, regardless, you be loving, you be love, full stop, right?
Yeah.
It shifts the perspectives of others, because you're not going to their level, right? You're not going down to the hatred, the jealousy, the anger, the depression, that, even though, like you said earlier, it is better for you to feel those things, but a lot of times people get stuck in those
Yeah.
feelings and they don't let it go, and they just kind of, like you were saying, carry it with them, and they
Mhm.
don't know how to feel it and move through it. And then they just kind of get stuck in it. And then here we are. And then they start operating from that, right?
Yeah, this is the trick of form, you know what I mean? And like, it's not a big, I mean, I'm not, that's funny. It's not a big deal. Like,
Big
it's like,
deal.
no, but what I mean, because it is what it is. It's like, we live in this world of form as these spiritual beings. We live in this touchy world, you know what I mean, where you can
Mhm.
experience stuff. But what I've seen is like we get too caught up on the form and when we're just really supposed to experience it. So like what you just said, people get so caught up in the form of sadness that they stay down there so low, when you can just experience sadness. And even like, sometimes, like, have you ever been mad and like god damn, this actually feels good, you know what I mean? And like, not
Yeah.
in like I need to walk around and being pissed off, but it's like, sometimes these, like, we're here to experience every emotion: anger, sadness, joy, peace, grief, everything,
Mhm.
to experience and not get caught up in the form. Because you can get caught up in the form and happiness, and oh, the form of happiness, if I'm not happy, something is wrong. No,
Mhm.
bro, like, these forms are ever changing. It's like, experience them, and then while you're experiencing them, really experience them, and it's like, see what happens. Because I see that there's actually a gift in sadness or anger. Sometimes you can see something differently that you never seen, but it's like, don't not try not to get caught up in the form. That's
Yes.
kind of the whole point of it, you know what I mean?
Yes. You're triggering my Pisces mind in
Let's
the,
go.
I know, right? So the two things that I absolutely love is the caught up in the form, because that is such a layered thing, because not only is it the form of the emotion, but it's also the physical form. I feel like a lot of people get caught up in their physical form, that's where the judgment lies, because you're seeing the exterior, you're seeing the container, but you're not seeing this incredibly wise and beautiful energetic soul underneath. You're not seeing what's really there, you're just seeing this container. And it's like, if we could move past that form, then I mean, there would be none of this bullshit around, like
Like,
with this
come on.
polarity. It would be none of that. I'm serious. Like, there wouldn't be any issues with like misogyny, with racism, with, you know, the issues with homosexuality and transgender. Like, there wouldn't be any of that, you know. And speaking of transgender, God, I can't even imagine that sort of turbulence being born into a container that you do not identify with. I mean, that
Yeah.
is like,
I
you
don't,
know what I
yeah, I
mean?
can't, you know, and that's really interesting. But you know, I feel that's a really interesting thing, because it's like the power of that soul. I'm seeing like the power of that soul to kind of just like know that it's not like, and it's kind of the thing where I was like, I'm not Dave, and it's like, but that's interesting that that soul identifies with something else rather than what it was incarnated into. And so that's a very, I don't know much about it, but that's very interesting.
Yeah, right. There goes my Pisces brain. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
I'm gonna bring some stuff up and
Yeah.
it's
But what I want to say about this is like, um the forms, but what I'm seeing is like, when you, like, honestly, this is it, like you're beautiful than you think you are. Like, I can put so many labels on you and say how amazing you are, how beautiful you are, and the same thing for me. Like, you know, I can say how amazing I am, but it's like, I am more than even what I say I am. I am
Mhm.
stronger than I think I am, because these labels will never be able to encompass what this actually really is. It's actually impossible to, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that thing, like, so I've said this is like, I have this painting on my wall here, and it's like, it's a painting of an ocean. It's a sunset. You can see the clouds. There's a lighthouse, and it's a cliff. It's like, I can explain that, and I can look at this so long, but it will never be that actual cliff and that actual ocean. Like, that's just the map is not the terrain, and so it's like, it don't matter how many things you put upon me. It's like, that will never really be who I am. But and it's also like with the unconditional love. It's like, I've actually, it's funny because I've been seeing this and I've been catching myself, and I just see, I'm like, wow, that person is beautiful. Like, that person is beautiful in its way right now. That person is beautiful. And it's not about what I see. It's just about, I know who I am, and I felt who I am, and I felt the beauty that lies within me. And it just resonates with me to see that for someone else. And so a big part of this, and like with the being compassionate for others and showing unconditional love for others, is it starts right here with you. And we, you know, it literally does. Like, I'm just seeing like how many times I judge myself, how many times I beat myself up. And it's like, if I'm doing that to myself, then it's a lot easier to do that to the others. But if I'm being more compassionate and being, you know, just seeing myself for who I really am, it's a lot easier for me to see others for who they really are as well.
Yeah, and allowing them the permission to do that for themselves too.
Yeah.
Because they see you acting from that space. They see you behaving that way and they're like, "Oh yeah, I think I could probably do that." Like, I mean, he's doing it and he seems to be
Yeah.
fine. So, I mean,
He not dead.
yeah.
Have you heard the thing like every fear goes back to death, if you will? Like, every fear, like, it traces back to
Oh,
death. It's like, if I do this, I could die. You know what I mean?
oh yeah. But did you die?
No, you never die. You never
You never
die.
die. There's
And
a time and place for all that, and it ain't today.
exactly. Not right now. It is funny because, you know, that's a topic that, you know, it's a topic that, you know, it's very diverse, as all topics are. Like, what you mean? Like, this is just our unique perspective. Some people don't give a shit. They don't think like this at all. So it's like, we living in our own world, but it's cool to have other people living in a world with you that you can talk to. So it's nice.
Yes. Well, and a lot of it is like energetic recognition.
Yeah.
Your beauty recognizes this other person's beauty, or my beauty represents, or my beauty recognizes yours. And it resonates and it builds, and you find this kinship with another person that you've never met before. And it's like, how does that even work? And a
Yeah.
lot of it is just beyond like what my rational ego mind can really
There we go.
understand. But that's cool. I kind of like that. I'm
I
living in
know.
that.
I know. And no, and I no, I like so many experiences over just the last couple of days have just shown me. It's like, when I made YouTube videos. It's like, when I'm out of my mind, that's when I'm on fire. When I'm out of my mind, that's when I'm really the light. When I'm out of my mind, that's when I'm really loving. Because it's like, when I'm out of this rational mind and like what she looked like and what he looks like, I can just have a very natural human connection with you. And it's
Mm.
usually based in love. It's
Mhm.
not even in the mind. And it's like, and that's so funny because like it's so funny because it's just that we walk around with this dream in our head that we're so different from everybody, and everybody
Uh-huh.
looks so different, and they're so tall and they're so short and they're so fat and they're so black and they're so white and they're so Asian. There's all these dreams, all these little dreams going on. And then when you just chill and be like, oh, that's actually a human being just like me. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Let's see what we have in common now. Oh,
Yeah.
we don't have nothing in common. It's okay because you're still a human being. Live
Yeah.
life.
That and what have you to teach me? Because we have nothing in common. That means your life has been lived completely different than mine. So, what kind of lessons can you show me today? Because let me just tell you, I have learned more from people that I have absolutely nothing in common with, that have the polar opposite view on things. Like I had a woman that I work with that I tried not to argue, but it was kind of like holding my ground in a sense. And she was just like, no, this is the thing, and la, 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 and like showing me things. And genuinely, what she was showing me was like, okay, so you read this differently than how I would read this. And then it became, from me, it was like, you are so passionate about this stance that I do not identify with at all. But damn, that is impressive. Like, you are just like a powerful woman. I mean, genuinely, like, she would just sit there and be like, she wouldn't let me get a word in edgewise. And she would just be like, this is the thing, and la la la. I'm like, okay, all right, this is fucking awesome. You are incredible. Like, I can see you in like so many different roles right now that are just powerful. Like, she like stood in her power. And that is genuinely something that I admire and adore in women, especially because it's like, a lot of times, especially, oh, I'm going off on the rails, Dave. Bring me back
Let's
in if
go.
I get too far, okay? Because
Let's
this
go.
it's just like, a lot of women like sit in like the meekness, or the, oh, you're the neck of the relationship, you're not the head of the relationship, or whatever bullshit dogma that comes on us, or
Mhm.
whatever. But it is refreshing to see someone be alive in their passion, even if it's like, I don't agree with any bit of what you're saying right now, but look at you and your fierceness and you know what I mean? It's just like, you can learn so much from somebody, even if you don't have anything in common. I feel like those are the people that, like, I mean, granted, you got to be careful about their vibe in general, but like, just observing, you're coming from a higher perspective, and not just like, ew, like, your viewpoint sucks, I don't like it. It's like, damn, you look at how amazingly like on fire you are about that, you know? And how do I get that? Like,
Wow.
just embracing and sitting in that power. It's just like absolutely incredible to me.
I totally resonate, and I really love how you explain that. That's a beautiful example because it's funny because I have a family member, and like this, literally what you just said, like super passionate. I'm like, bro, like I don't even care what you're talking about, but god dang, your energy, bro, and how you talking about this and what you believe in is just like, it's so cool. And it just, like you just said, like, it's like, wow, like I see that in him because I see it in me, but I haven't allowed that my part of myself to come out yet. But he doing it in a way that he don't care. And that's
Mhm.
just a really cool thing. And it's like, I feel like the biggest thing and what's really powerful for you being in that situation and to learn something is for us to not, we always think if somebody has a different point of view that they're taking something from us. You didn't think
Mm,
that. We
no.
always think that we can lose something, like, oh, because they are this way, then I'm losing something or they can take something from me. It's like, no, like actually it's the exact opposite. Because they are the way they are, you can actually gain something rather than lose something. They can never change the way that you think or believe or live. It's just they're gonna be them. And that's kind of just like a big lesson. It's like I can't lose anything from anybody having a different perception or a different belief than I do. Like I can gain way more than I can lose from them having that perception.
Yes. And you get a little bit more clarity into the opposing viewpoint, which is
Hmm.
is still wisdom. It's still understanding,
Yeah.
because you have your point of view, and they're like, here, let me show you where I'm looking from. Let me show you how this painting looks to me, because I don't see a lighthouse and a beach. I see a building and I see a sunrise instead of a sunset. And the colors look more pink and red as opposed to like orange and and yellow. It's like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Instead of like, no, you're wrong. It's like, oh my God, you're looking at this from a totally different viewpoint. And that is incredible. It
That's
absolutely.
so cool. Like when we embrace the diversity of just freaking individuals, like embrace, like what the freak, bro? Doesn't it look like we're all different? We're individuals. Like, you know what I mean? Like embracing the diversity. And like, that's the thing. It's so hard for humans to embrace the diversity because we think it all should look the same and be the same. But that just doesn't make sense. It don't even align with how this universe works out and what we literally see. You know what I mean? And so that's a really cool gift. And it's cool because I'm thinking about like, if you can stay in that conversation with someone longer that has a different perspective and like really understand, so why do you see it that way? And like, that's a really cool thing. It's like, okay, you see it that way, but why? And like, let's see what's really going on. I want to, like, that's a different human being. Like, that's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah. It's like, okay, let's figure some shit out here. Let's figure out why you're operating from this space. Like, I want to know because there's a story.
Yeah. I love stories. Stories are so good. Yeah.
Tell me your story.
Yeah. And I just think about this as well. It's like the curiosity for life. Like, where is that at? Like, isn't that like nobody's curious anymore. We just know everything, and we know why this person is like that, and we know why we just know. It's like, no. And that's actually a really cool thing that I learned from coaching, is because it's funny in coaching, sometimes you'll ask a question and you'll kind of know the answer. So you just ask a question that you know the answer to, but it's like, I stopped asking questions like that. I'm like actually curious because I don't freaking know. I literally don't know what you think, and I don't know what your answer is. So let me genuinely be curious because I don't know why you think like that. And I want to know why you think like that so we can have fun.
So we can get you to where you need to be, you know.
Exactly. I mean? Yeah.
They're very much here talking to you for a specific reason and purpose. And this purpose is you basically just being like, okay, let's go through each layer and sort out what it is that you need to look at here. And if it means going through every single layer at a time, then by God, we're going to do that. And we're going to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Like, what do you believe about life, and where is this not aligning with the things you desire about life? And I feel like that's kind of, that's a big thing, that like, what do you believe about life, and how is that not aligning with what you want from life? And what I've been seeing, and like, I guess I just been making my life freaking super simple. Like, I'm like, man, I'm just making it simple as possible because it don't have to be complicated. I love simplicity, so it works out for me. But like, I just been thinking is like, what do I want to experience? Like, that is the biggest question. Like, what do I want to experience? So many people can tell you what they don't want to experience, but it's like, it's just not a thing. Like, what do I want to experience? Like, and that kind of throws everything else out the window. It's like the shoulds, like what I need to do, what I gotta do. It's like, no, what would I like to experience today? And since I've been doing that, yet again, it's just showing me that like, wow, like I just got all these things, all these billboards and all these signs everywhere that I've just been holding on to and paying attention to, but I haven't even just paid attention to where I'm at and me driving, because it's fun driving.
Yeah, absolutely. It is fun driving until you realize that you really need a break.
I need to pull over and take a nap for a second.
I'm so tired.
Oh, but this is even more. It's like, what if I'm not the one that's like actually driving and I'm the vehicle? So like, I'm just like allowing this spirit or this God or this guide to actually drive, and I'm just being the vehicle that's being driven. Because I feel like that untouchable thing, that God source, that consciousness actually kind of is better at navigating and driving than I am when I'm in my reasoning mind.
Yep, absolutely. And generally when I when I do regressions, past life regressions, the one thing that I tell people is what this looks like is you allowing your conscious waking mind to sit in the back seat of the car, and your unconscious mind is going to take the wheel. Your conscious mind is still there. It's still there. It's just taking a break so that your unconscious mind can, show you what you need to see and that sort of thing. So it's funny.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do people pop and do they like start laughing, or how does it usually happen when they have like that moment? So in the past life regression, like, is it like a moment where they're like, oh, I remember now. Oh, okay, I got it. It's not that big of a deal as I thought it was. Or how does that work out usually?
So usually when they're, it's like a very deep meditative state. I don't like to use the word hypnosis a lot because I feel like that carries a lot of stigma and people are really worried about it because you've had all these images and different things of people clucking like chickens and having no control over their body. But really there isn't any of that loss. It is only allowance. There's only allowance that's occurring here. So if you want to cluck like a chicken, yeah, but no, in this state, it is like what you're doing when you're doing your life coaching. You're asking questions and you're trying to understand what's happening. But for me, it's like helping them move through this lifetime in a very gentle way, letting them know that they're safe and that they can view things however they need to view them. And a lot of times they'll be saying things. They'll say, oh, this is what's happening, or la la la. And sometimes they're quiet. I'm just kind of like, okay, what shoes are you wearing? What does your surroundings smell like? Are you by the coast? Are you in the desert? Where are you? You know what I mean? So that way they can see things. And a lot of times they don't even really hear me because they're in their experience and they're moving through it. And then they'll kind of tune in when they hear a question they need to hear. And then they'll say things or whatever. And then generally after we bring them out of the experience, then they're able to be like, okay, well, this is the reason why this happened. You know what I mean? Because, I'm in this situation in my present life because this happened in my past life. And this is sort of my cycle of karma. And now I can find a space to actually break that cycle and move forward. And that's really the purpose of past life regressions, really, because we're all working in patterns. The universe works in these incredible patterns, even like Fibonacci sequences, you see them in everything, right? You see them in even just how our earth resonates its own energy with the Schumann resonance. It resonates at a specific energy over and over and over again. So it is no wonder that when we incarnate here with a whole truckload of patterns. And so some of them are really good and some of them are not really all that good. So in these regressions, we find a way to see these negative patterns by allowing our unconscious mind to be like, okay, so you're in this relationship again, and this shit is happening again because this is where it started. So now that you know where it started and why, now you can move on and make better choices. At least that's the hope anyway.
So that is so interesting. Cool. So is it so this pattern, like, so we all have these patterns and things like that, and oftentimes we don't notice it. So would you say that like in those states and in those moments, like, so do you resonate with this? Is like you really can't figure your damn problems out. Like if you continue thinking about this problem, like you're gonna continue to have this problem. And that's how I was kind of seeing it. It's like for someone to continue to repeat the same pattern, they're trying to get themselves out of the pattern without actually like kind of noticing like from a far vantage point. You know what I mean? They're just trying to, well, the whole point is like they're trying to figure out the pattern with their reasoning mind, but it kind of takes this awareness of just like pure consciousness to actually allow them to actually notice what's going on. Does that kind of make sense?
So yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And it's twofold. So a lot of times most of the times people recognize that there's something wrong with the situation and they want out genuinely. And then there's the other ones that they don't really know. And then they regress and they're like, oh, that's why. And then they connect the dots and they're like, well, this is God, that's the reason why that was happening. And now it makes sense. And it's sort of this like eureka moment of clarity. But and sometimes it takes them a couple regressions to the same spot and to look at it again and again until they start to really realize. So really there's three. But most of the time I find that when people say, I need to do a past life regression, they know that there's a cycle happening that they want to get out of, that they want to resolve the issue so that they can move forward with meaning and purpose and without this like same thing happening over and over again and kind of in this hamster wheel, if you will.
Yeah, dang, that's so interesting right
Yeah.
there. That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, actually, it just so I'm about to start reading this book, The Alchemist. I read it before.
Oh, by Paulo
Paulo
Coelho.
Coelho. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's what that just reminded me of. It's like, like, because he goes on this whole journey and then he ends up at the exact same spot, you know what I mean? And like you just said, like when they have these past regressions, they go to that same spot and they notice it, what it is and stuff like that. So that's fascinating.
it is. And you're fascinating. And I feel bad. I feel like I hijacked the conversation a little bit and I'm so sorry.
No, I asked you about the past life regressions. And I was like, because I've heard of it, but I mean, I haven't had anybody like kind of tell me and like, just like straight like that. I was like, oh, wow, that's so beautiful. But what it just noted, it's so cool because like, would you call that a modality?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Like
cool. I was just wondering. Yeah.
yeah. Like yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, it
Well,
took
no,
me.
I'm just no, it's so cool that like there's so many ways to bring people like back home to the well-being and things like that. Like, so many different ways. And it's so interesting that like, we're all doing the same thing. It's just like we're helping people get back to that place where they can kind of feel good about life. And
Mm,
what is would you say that's a point of it though, to feel good, better about their lives when they get out of a pattern, they feel better about their life?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if it's like I feel better, it doesn't have to, like when you were talking about experiencing all the emotions,
Yeah.
sometimes, it's not always happy. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
very sad or it's frustrating, but the knowledge is the thing that's the release because
That's it.
genuinely that's it. They need the release. They need to experience the reason why. And that's not always like a super happy experience, but now you understand. And with that knowledge, you can move forward, regardless of how it's experienced or received,
Yeah.
And that actually reminds me of the second part of when you had mentioned experiencing emotions and like the whole like form thing. There was the other piece of that where I thought, because you said, experiencing those emotions are just as important, regardless of it being a positive emotion. But experiencing those other emotions is a way for us to realize our humanness. And then
Yeah.
also, it's a way for us to open in a way. Because, yes, it is a negative emotion, but let's take, for instance, being sad. I feel like when I'm sad, I break open and I feel like people can see this piece of me that's underneath. I mean, that's one of the things that happens when, when I'm doing readings or, if that sort of thing, or like, I'm sure you've found this when you're talking to somebody and they begin to cry because they have this realization or this connection or this synchronicity. And they're just like, you're right. And it's like they start to cry, they start feeling this emotion, and you feel this energy that just opens up, and it's a way for your soul to kind of shine through in sadness. And it's
That's
the
it.
same, yeah, it's the same with anger. With that woman that I was talking to, it's like this fire that got lit from underneath her, and she became this like powerful being. And to see and experience that is part of the reason why we want to incarnate to this freaking rock over and over again.
I guess is this real? Like, am I literally doing a podcast? What is a podcast? Do you remember we did a podcast on planet Earth? Like,
Did
what?
you remember
Like,
we did that?
that was a crazy experience, and people all across the world. We're talking about all types of cool stuff. Like, that's so interesting. But what I wanted to say is like about opening up, and I just see that like opening up is like, you can also, people refer to it as like your heart is opening up, you know what I mean? But I see that like this is what this is like where the judgment comes in, because yet again it's like, and like I'm going to use this, and I don't say this often, but it's like where people say like the toxic positivity, you know what I mean, where it's like you think you need to be positive and happy all the time, but you're not allowing yourself to experience these other emotions and things like that. So yet again, you have a mask on and facade, and your soul is free. Like, it don't care about being happy all the time. It don't care about being all this all the time and things like that. And so it's like kind of just like that opening up. And I guess the same thing is like allowing yourself to experience everything that comes with life. And that's what the soul came here for, to gather knowledge, to gather information, to experience life, not be in one structured, rigid way. And when we are that way, and when we judge ourselves for not being that way, that's why we feel not really good. And it's funny because when you feel not really good, I don't even think it's not even like a sadness. It's just like this constricting feeling of life. It's not that you're sad, it's just you feel constricted and like kind of in this ball. And so that's just that's a beautiful thing to say. Like, and it's funny because, you know, in this like self-development and personal growth thing, you know, there's a lot of structures and rigidness. And it's so, I say it's very innocent, because all information is innocent and it's very well meaning. Like, yeah, go be successful. Yeah, create a good life. But it's like, see where these things are creating boundaries, and see where you're kind of creating this facade and image of yourself that's not really allowing you to just be free and be expressive. And that's a vibe right there.
That's a vibe. Be organic, you know?
Organic.
Yes. Ooh, he liked that word.
I like that word. No, yeah. Organic. No, because I've really been on this, like, I'm just trying to be natural as nature. Like, I'm just naturally Dave, and this is naturally who I am, and I got to be organic. When I make a video, I don't need to be trying to perform. I just need to be naturally Dave. And I've just been seeing like, this is who I am when I'm walking my dog. This is who I am when I'm taking a shower. This is who I am when I'm brushing my teeth. And it's like, this is okay. This is perfectly beautiful to show to people. You don't have to just show when you're making a YouTube video or making an Instagram video. It's like, bro, if you sit on the toilet, pull out your camera and make a video, because that's who you are. That type of thing.
Because that's the thing.
That's it. Or that's it. I'm more like, just be organic. That's the thing right there. Just like, and it's cool because I'm seeing that like, oh, it's natural for us to have these beautiful gifts. It's natural for us to just be like magical in our naturalness. Like, I'm not like I just see it as like, we all have this light within us, and the light is natural. So it's not crazy to see somebody excited and happy about life. It's not weird. It's like, they have a light. They have the light that all of us have. And some of us are allowing that to be expressed more. And the more of us that allow ourselves to be expressed, more of us that allow that to come through, we'll see how normal it is for us to feel good and be happy. And when we're not happy, that's okay too. And we sad, that's okay too. But it's okay just to be whatever you are right freaking now. That's where everybody's listening, sitting in your chair right now.
Sitting in your chair, sitting in your car, you know, taking your walk, being your organic self.
Like how can we be anything else? Actually, that's what I want to know.
You know, I feel like that I've asked that question a myriad of times, because I feel like that's a big trigger for me with other people, is when they're like disingenuine. You know, because I don't know how to be anything other than myself. And maybe that is the lesson that I need to understand with other people, is like, you know, their story told them, you know what I mean, that they weren't allowed to be themselves because it was bad, you know? And for me, yeah, I've heard that story before, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be anything other than myself, you know? And I'm learning as this life goes on, how to continue being myself, but also learning where other people's stories prevent them from being their genuine organic version of themselves, you know? And like, that's where I feel kind of like I need to learn from them, but hopefully they can learn how to be genuine with me, you know, because they see what I'm doing over here, and it's not going to be anything other than me. Like, this is 1,000% me.
That's
like,
it. That's it. I love that. And I like that you said that, because I totally resonate with those people that think that they can't be themselves, because I was literally in that spot. And that's what got me to the point of depression, because I wanted to be myself so bad. And I didn't know I didn't know what that was, because I had been playing the game of not being myself for so long. And I just wanted to so bad. I remember it was interesting, because I remember I was like, man, I just want to be like I just want to see the world and just be happy again, like a kid. That was like literally what it was. And I didn't know how, because I just had all the beliefs and ideas and concepts and labels that I thought I needed to be. And eventually, like, that depression woke my ass up, because I was like, I can't be this guy anymore, because this is not working for this guy.
Mhm.
But and it's interesting, because I want to say that it might even be, and I'm not going to say it's harder for men, because everybody has it their own way. Like, there's always a story, but for a minute, like, I didn't think that I can be energetic. I thought it was weird to be like flamboyant. And I literally had this conversation with my girlfriend the other day, and she helped me out with this so greatly. I was telling her, I was like, I thought it was bad to be flamboyant. Like you just really be animated and be characterized. I thought it was bad. And I thought that if you were like that if men were like that they were gay. So I was scared to be like that, because I didn't want to be gay. And then all these labels of what my family said about being gay and all this bullshit. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even like, it's like, I have no judgment towards anybody. I don't care whatever you're saying. I don't care about being like, it don't matter to me, but it's like, I just saw that how all those stories of like, men can't be like this, and that they are this, and that they are that, they are bad. And I'm like, wow, man, that's so limiting and so restricting and so just like not life-giving and so like everything. So what I'm saying to say this is like, if you feel like you're not being yourself, beating yourself up about not being yourself is not going to help you out. You just have to just allow a little bit more. Just see when you are yourself, notice when you are feeling good about yourself, and allow that more to come through, instead of needing to switch up in front of other people.
Yeah. And the more you allow yourself to be who you are, the more you start to learn who you are and what your triggers are, and why they come up the way that they do, and how to face that and acknowledge it, because that's very powerful, because then you're learning how to cope better, and oh man, I just lost the thing I wanted to tell you that I thought was super interesting.
The thing, I love the thing.
The thing.
No, it's funny, because I always like, when I talk to people, I'm like, so this is the thing, and they like, oh, here we go. Like, I don't ever know what it is, but I'm like, this is the thing. I get excited. It just happens.
it just happens. It's okay.
Yeah.
I had a thing, but normally I'm pretty good about holding on to it. But today, I think I forgot to take my ginkgo or something like that.
Those things float away so easily, but it'll come back to you if it feels good to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let me see. So you were talking about being your organic self, and then oh man, it just escaped my brain.
That's
That doesn't
always
happen
fun,
to me very often.
Oh no, that's cool. No, because when you're out of your mind, good stuff happens. I was like, you might just channel Jesus real quick and tell me something I ain't never heard. I'm like, wait a minute.
Real.
Like, we all woke up in here. If y'all listen, y'all about to wake up right now.
I am saying, I hope so. I hope that that's the case. That is the
Yeah.
point of this podcast, hopefully, is for people to really identify and grasp who they are genuinely, and wake up to their potential, and wake up to who they are and their purpose, because it is like, okay, so it's your turn to give your wisdom and your love and light to other people. Because it's not like I'm going to only listen to Dave and Lorelei, and then that's my purpose, is to just listen to these two for the remainder of time. And it's like, we're just here to be a catalyst.
Yeah.
That's genuinely it. We're here to stir it up a little bit, so that you can start doing this too, so that you can start channeling through what it is that your unique perspective can change the world. And I know that seems very grandiose, but even if it's just one person, that is one person in the world. So you have changed the world.
Can I tell the story real quick? Because I love that. And I deeply resonate with that. So, well, I'm gonna say a couple of things before I tell you the story. So I used to listen to the Abraham Hicks channel. I used to listen to Abraham Hicks YouTube videos. And so, it's like a channel from a different dimension or something like that. It always comes to share information with humans. And I was like, I want to be a channel. I want to be a channel. I want to do that. I was like, that sounds so fun. And like, the energy. And I was noticing that, like what you just said, like, every human being is a channel of their own. Like they all have something to say. So it's not like I want to be a channel like that, but I'm noticing that, bro, when I'm in the flow, like I'll say stuff that I never knew that I even knew. So it's like we're all channeling. And
Mhm.
yes, like you have like, if you're listening to this yet again, you are purposeful. Wherever you're sitting at is purpose. And that means that like life is purpose. And so the story is on Tuesday, I was riding my bike with my dog and we were just getting exercise. And I rode by this old man and he had his dog in the road and he said, hey, or something like that, but he grabbed my attention. So I turned around. It's funny because I really don't understand how I got in front of him. So it was kind of one of those things where I wasn't even thinking about it. I just was back in front of him. And so we started to talk and stuff like that. And he was telling me that like, he was telling me about his dogs and he had dogs for sale. The dog that he had, it was from his wife, and his wife passed away 3 years ago. And I think that was kind of, I imagine that was kind of tough for him and stuff like that. But at the end of the conversation, like he had crystals on. And so I was like, that was a cool crystal, man. So, we just had a really good conversation. And at the end of the conversation, he said, the other day I was praying to God and asking God, what is my purpose? And then I was like, what did you find out? And he was like, you. And I was like, I was totally shocked and I just started smiling. And he was like, you are my purpose here. And he said the last couple of days that I've met 3 kind people and I've had these great conversations with them. And it just showed me that he was not me being the purpose, but he was saying that he is a purpose, because if he wasn't walking down that street in a purposeful way, we wouldn't have had that purposeful experience. And just it was all on purpose. And oftentimes I feel like we search for purpose, but it's always right here where we're at. And I like to liken it like we all have this gift in our hand and we never look down. So we're running around looking at other people's gifts. We're like, oh, look at their gifts. It's so cool. It's so nice. It's so like the light. And you never look down and just see like, oh, I got a gift too. Let me open it up and see what's inside. Let me explore it more. And
Yeah.
like, that's what a purpose is. Like a tree is just so purposeful, just being. It provides oxygen, shelter, shade. It's like, dude, like you really have purpose. And as we start to notice it, you don't have to search for it. Just start to notice it, see what comes up and give it away, man.
Oh man, Dave, that was absolutely beautiful. I'm going to
Thank you.
keep that in my brain forever and always.
I appreciate that. And
That
so
is
it's cool.
oh my God. Yes. Well, and it's true. We all are sidestepping and looking at everybody else's things that we forget about what our own thing is and how incredible it actually is. And the amount of wisdom that we carry with us. We look at everybody else's and we don't see what it is that we got. And what we got is pretty extraordinary. We just have to actually look at it.
I know. No, and yeah, because it's like I was like, I used to be like, wow, that person is so wise, so much wisdom. They're so brilliant, intelligent. Wow. And then I was like, oh, I got that too. Like, oh, that's so good. Like, that type of thing. It's like, oh, I don't gotta like even look for that. I mean, I like to get inspired by them, but I don't have to look for them anymore. Cause like literally my life will literally life shows you what your purpose is every freaking day. Like it literally, like, and that's what I've noticed. And when you start to really like look at life in that way, like it's crazy because every day you can really find something purpose. You can see where your purpose is. And that's
Mhm.
instead of thinking about a vision and thinking about like I'm gonna create a vision from a month from now and like I'm gonna create a vision, I'm gonna live my dream life one day. It's like, no, bro, like there's some purpose in here that it's gonna feel real good when you find it right now too.
Yeah, that reminds me of that whole thing with manifestation and like us trying to manifest something specific.
Mhm.
And I remember listening to this podcast called Spiritual Shit by Aaliyah Lovely. She's amazing.
Mm.
And she had said she had worked in a lot in manifestation and trying to create this life that is absolutely extraordinary. And one thing that she said to me that will forever resonate was, don't create something out of Play-Doh when the universe has something made out of gold for you. Doesn't that knock you off your ass for a minute there? Like, it's just like, you know what you want. You know what you want. The universe knows what you want. So instead of trying to force and control how it looks or when it arrives, just sit in it and remain present. remain present and be grateful for what it is that you have, and still wanting that thing, like still having that desire, and being excited about it, even though it's not like right here, but visualizing it and seeing it and being so excited about it. And then allowing the universe to do its thing and to present it to you, this beautiful gift that you've always wanted. It's coming, but you got to wait for it. Don't accept the Play-Doh over the gold.
Wow. I love that. So
Isn't
I
that
actually like, that is so powerful, because I had another experience yesterday. And so this is the cool thing. It's like, like day to day, you can see something and learn something new. That's what I'm learning. Like, bro, like every day can be like exceptional. It can be like a wonder. Like, so I like to say wonder field. Like a kid is like, every day can be wonderful. Like, I'm not saying that it's gonna be great, but like something can happen that is like, oh, I never experienced this. So with that being said, so yesterday, so this last week, like, I just been feeling like, something has been awaking inside of me. So like, there's never, like, I see that there's never a place where I know what's going on. Like, I just like to learn every freaking week, and it don't have to be learning out of a book. It can just be learning from life. So with that being said, so yesterday I created like 3 or 4 videos, and I made a podcast and stuff like that. And I used to have this thing where I was like, I need to stay home and just continue to work until like a certain amount of time, whatever. But I didn't. I was like, I'm about to go to the park and hang out in my hammock. That's what I want to go do today.
oh
Like,
my
cause
God.
I get to go do that. Like that's what I want to experience. And in the past, I would have had this back and forth, like, should you really go lay in the hammock? You should probably do some more work. You should do something, da, 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 da. But I was like, I want to experience. That's what I want to experience. I just want to go lay in the hammock. So I went to the hammock, and so before I finish that story, y'all stay tuned. So as like I told you, like, I'm an inspirational speaker. So I've been really practicing on communicating better and my leadership skills and stuff like that. So I'm a part of this organization, which is called Toastmasters. And
Yeah.
basically basically. And so I'm having meetings there, and I'm giving a presentation this evening. And so I've been doing a lot of speaking online, YouTube videos and stuff like that, but I wanted to get more into the community and speak to children and stuff like that and talk about these type of things. And so I didn't know how to do that. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I want to do that, but I don't know how to do it. So I go to the park yesterday. I go lay in the hammock. Like, why is this random lady walking around? She's a part of the community, and she's like, yeah, I'm an organization event planner. Like, I can help you get speaking gigs and stuff like that. I'm like, how did this just happen? This random lady, I'm laying in a hammock. She has the courage enough to come up to me while I'm laying in my hammock. She said, are you from around here? And we just had a conversation. And then she starts to tell me everything. And she asked me about what I got going on. She says that she's a teacher, and that she loves to help people like me get into the community so they can serve the community and do all this stuff. And I'm like,
Dude.
dude,
Dude.
manifest the universe. If I would have tried to figure it out, I would have probably made something really small and something very minute and meek. But because I just allowed myself to be guided to do what felt right at that moment, I meet this lady that literally, we best friends already, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm literally, that type of thing. Like, tomorrow I'm going to go meet with her, and like on set, like just those type of things. It's like the universe will really provide for you. It will put the right people in place for you. It will do the things. It's like, we have to listen to that voice, though. That voice is
Yes.
always there.
Yes. Listen and go with it.
Go
Go.
with it. Go. It's scary sometimes. It's kind of, and it's like that. It's that thing of trust, and it's like, trust is an interesting word. It's like, what do I trust? Who do I trust? Why do I trust? But it's like, I don't know. Just try it.
Do it. Like, just know that what's going to come out of it is probably better than you just sitting at home watching another Netflix show.
Yeah, yeah. And
Go.
you're not a bad person if you are, but like, and this is, but actually, and this is this is not why we should trust, but this is why trust is the only option. And trust is actually happening right now, because I'm not making my heart beat, and I'm not making my lungs beat, and I'm not like doing all that stuff. So I'm literally trusting that will take care of itself. I trust that the sun is coming up. So it's not that I need to trust. The fact is, everything is unknown. And so I only have one option. Everything is literally unknown. I only have one option.
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Am I going to be here tomorrow? Am I going to live to see tomorrow? I really don't know. It's really unknown. So guess what? I'm going to just like, yeah,
You only have that option.
Yeah. Only got one option.
Damn. Speaking of like perspective shifts, geez, that is incredible. Dave Shine.
Good times.
Yes. Okay. So I think we could probably go for like hours and hours, my friend, but I should probably, I'm sure there's people that are just like, whoa, guys.
I totally agree because we could go forever, but I feel like this is a perfect time to
Yes,
give.
it is.
It
It
does
is the
feel right.
perfect time. And I don't feel like this will be the only time that we sit and chat.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it.
We vibing. Like it's too easy. It's literally too easy. Like it's literally too easy. Like the universe is gonna do it again because like I didn't plan this out. You did a little planning, but like not too much. So it's cool. And the timing was all scattered around, but it still worked out. So that's what I'm
It
saying.
still worked. You know, there's always the little speed bumps that you have to go over in order to make the real juicy stuff happen. And here we are making some juicy stuff.
I need some watermelon right now.
Oh my God, that sounds so good.
Oh, do you know what's so funny that I literally had a thing against watermelon for the longest time. I didn't think I liked. So as a kid, I ate it, and you know sometimes as a kid you don't like stuff, and so I didn't really like it as a kid. And so I've been walking around like, man, I don't like watermelon. I don't like watermelon. And then the other day, like I was at a family reunion and they gave me watermelon. I was like, I love watermelon. It's the best thing ever. So get out of your mind and just try stuff.
Get out of your mind. Get out of it.
Yes.
And enjoy the watermelon.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Enjoy the watermelon.
That's so fun.
All right. Well, Dave Shine, I am going to sign off now, but this has been literally one of the best conversations I've ever had. Thank you so much for being here and being present with me and sharing your exquisite wisdom with everybody. It is such a refreshing and wonderful thing to hear you speak. And I hope that you're going to continue doing this thing and changing the lives of others for the best. And I'm so grateful that you exist.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate this co-creation because it couldn't happen without you and the people listening. So thank you for having me here. And it was a freaking blast.
It was a freaking blast.
It was.
You guys, go find Dave Shine. How can we find you, Dave?
Yeah, for sure. So if you go to YouTube, just at Dave Shine, and on Instagram, I believe it's Dave_Shine_. And then we have a podcast called Shine Time with Dave Shine. And yeah, that's where you can find me on social medias. And if you live in Texas and College Station or Houston, you can come, we can hang out, we can have a nice conversation.
Ooh, so next time I'm in Texas, just when I decide to go roll through the South again,
come through.
Be like, Dave Shine.
That's where we at.
That's where we at. All right, you guys. So that's it for this week. And I love you all so much. And be sure to tune in next week for more amazing metaphysical topics. And until then, love and light to you all.